Tesla just coming out with second quarter delivery numbers. I want to get straight over to Phil LeBeau, who's got those numbers. Phil?
Andrew, Tesla delivered 201,250 vehicles in the second quarter. The overwhelming majority of those vehicles were the Models 3 and Models Y. Not surprising, given that Elon Musk talked about some of the part shortages, the chip impact, and raw material cost impact in the second quarter. The Model S and Model X combined, they only delivered a little under 2,000 of those vehicles. In terms of the little bit of pressure you're seeing on shares of Tesla, the estimate on the street, according to FactSet, had ticked up to 207,000. So this is just shy of that, but I'm not sure I would call this a miss. I think it's roughly in line with what expectations were. The estimates, by the way, were all over the place, from 195,000 up to 230,000. But again, Tesla delivering just over 200,000 vehicles in the second quarter, just a smidge under the FactSet estimate, the consensus from analysts.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. As promised, Tesla crushed Q2, shattering their records for both delivery and production. This, despite global chip shortages and massive supply chain challenges. This is a huge win for Tesla. In this video, we'll look at Tesla's record-shattering Q2, what it means for the rest of 2021, and we'll also dissect some of the recent FUD being spread in the mainstream finance media, including a very suspicious Tesla fire in which the details don't quite seem to be adding up, much like the FUD relating to the supposed autopilot crash a few months prior. So let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it.
Jared, let's talk about a little bit of corporate news that also hit the tape earlier this morning on a ticker that people are always watching on our website. That's Tesla, coming out with its second quarter delivery numbers, better than analysts expected, and Elon Musk tweeting to mark the occasion.
Yeah, exactly. Quarterly deliveries for the second quarter came in at 202,250, something in there. I might be off by 1,000, but that was a good number, good enough for a record number. There are a lot of concerns about slowing deliveries, particularly in China. Can the rest of the world kind of pick up the slack? I'm looking at a Tesla chart right here. It is bullishly constructive. On a short-term basis, we do have an uptrend here, confirmed by higher highs and higher lows. We've gotten above the 50-day moving average. And also this negative trend line right here, it just managed to break out of. So could find some momentum here to the upside when we get some more catalyst for it. We know we're going to be heading into earnings season, so I think we get their earnings in about a month or so. Don't quote me on that, but all in all, looking good, or looking better for Tesla, because we've really seen Ford, GM, and some of the other automakers, the more traditional ones, including VW, just kind of gain market share this year. Not only market share, but also stock price appreciation. So we'll have to see if this is kind of a reversal of sorts, where market flows favor Tesla as opposed to some of the other vintage automakers.
Okay, so now we're going to dive into Tesla's production and delivery numbers for Q2 2021, and also look at how they compare to Q1 and try to extrapolate the rate of growth, not just quarter over quarter, but Tesla's annualized rate of production and delivery growth. This is the key metric to pay attention to. Tesla Q2 2021 vehicle production and deliveries. In the second quarter, we produced and delivered over 200,000 vehicles. Our teams have done an outstanding job navigating through global supply chain and logistics challenges. I just want to emphasize this point. This was no easy feat. Many other automakers at this point in time are really struggling to produce vehicles, and no doubt, these supply chain issues and chip shortages are actually impacting Tesla as well. Yet despite that, they're still able to grow production and deliveries and have a record-shattering quarter. This quarter, practically zero Model S and X were produced and delivered. Now, yes, if you want to nitpick, there was a few thousand there, but these are a drop in the water, around 1% of the total quarter, barely worth paying attention to. So Tesla's quarter was really carried by the Model 3 and Model Y. In total, Tesla produced 206,421 vehicles and delivered 201,250 vehicles. This is a stunning result. Tesla's annualized rate of production and deliveries already exceeding 800,000 vehicles per year. Keeping in mind, Model Y still continues to ramp in Shanghai, and the Austin and Berlin factories are still under construction and likely to begin adding to production and deliveries at the end of this year. And now, as promised, let's compare Q2 to Q1 to see the rate of production increase and annualize that rate to get a bit of a gauge at how quickly Tesla is growing their production. The key number to focus on here is production. Deliveries are a side effect. Production is the thing that really matters, right? You can't deliver vehicles you didn't produce. So in Q1, Tesla produced 180,338 vehicles. The math is pretty simple here. Take Tesla's Q2 delivery numbers and divide that by their Q1 delivery numbers, and we can see that Tesla grew production at over 14% quarter over quarter. So let's just see what happens if Tesla is able to do this 4 consecutive quarters in a single year. How much could Tesla grow their annual rate of production in a single year at this particular rate? Keeping in mind, Berlin and Austin aren't online yet. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Tesla's going to have 2 brand new massive factories ramping at the same time. So it's actually likely that Tesla's going to grow production far in excess of this rate over the next couple of years. But even so, let's try to understand where Tesla is at today. So just to keep things nice and simple, we're going to assume a 14% rate of growth. And I'm going to use the number 100 to begin with so I can easily pull the percentage rate of growth out at the end of this. Go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we're looking at here, Tesla potentially growing their rate of production at 68% per annum. Based on my bear case of Tesla delivering 940,000 vehicles this year, we could see Tesla at a rate of around 1.5 million vehicles 12 months from now. And what do you fucking know? My estimates for Tesla deliveries in 2022 in the bear case, by the way, this document was last edited May 28th, just for the record, we're at around 1.5 million vehicles delivered. Who would have thought? I guess the translation here, Tesla are right on target. And as I've said in the past, I don't really care if Tesla's 1 or 2 quarters late in reaching these numbers. There's a lot of uncertainty ramping new factories, new production techniques, new production lines, new vehicles, blah, 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 blah. The point is the trend. And I can tell you guys for a fact, Tesla will continue to break production and delivery records quarter after quarter, every single quarter for years to come. All you need to do is run the numbers forward and you realize that Tesla has a very clear path to literally getting to 10, 15, 20 million vehicles produced and delivered in a single year around the end of this decade. All they need to do is continue ramping production at approximately the same rate they're doing today. And how does Tesla do that? Quite simple. Build more factories, ramp production of the killer products, the Model 3 and the Model Y, introduce the Cybertruck, ramp production of the Cybertruck, introduce the Model 2, a more affordable, scaled-down version of the Model 3, which alone will sell many millions of units per year, more than every other Tesla vehicle to date, including the Cybertruck combined, then release a van, and ultimately, eventually, release an even more affordable vehicle somewhere around that $15,000 to $18,000 price range and completely dominate the global automotive market. This is Tesla's roadmap over the next decade. Watch as they execute. Now guys, get ready to see some of the mainstream finance media trying to spread more FUD about Tesla on the back of their record-breaking Q2. And by the way, just in case any of you actually believe and gobble up what's being said here on Yahoo Finance, please be very cautious. As I mentioned and as we'll detail after these clips, the details of this so-called incident aren't quite adding up, at least for mine. I have a funny feeling given the timing of this, right at the end of Tesla's Q2. Perhaps, just maybe, there could have been an ulterior motive here. I can certainly say, and by the way, I don't have any evidence here, I'm just hypothesizing, but if I had a very large, for example, short position on Tesla stock, I certainly wouldn't mind investing $130,000 in a Plaid Model S just so I could spread some fear, uncertainty and doubt and make myself millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on my bet against Tesla stock, assuming my FUD was successful, and spoiler alert, it didn't do shit to Tesla stock. It seems like the FUD is becoming less and less effective. So with that said, let's watch these clowns spread some fear, uncertainty and doubt to no avail.
A major milestone for Tesla heading into the holiday weekend. The EV maker delivering more than 200,000 vehicles in a quarter for the very first time. We've got Yahoo Finance's Pras Subramanian here now with those details. And a bit of a surprise, Pras, given the fact that we've got the semiconductor shortage right now, the fact that they were able to do this, quite an accomplishment.
Great to see Yahoo giving Tesla credit where it's due. So far, the segment started off perfectly well and very reasonable.
Yeah, Alexis. I mean, it was definitely an accomplishment here. They did it. They broke that 200,000 delivery barrier, which they had never done before. You know, Musk acknowledging that there was a lot of challenges, especially with those microchips, saying that he had never seen anything like that. But, you know, just drilling down, yes, the overall number slightly missed estimates, but they beat estimates when it comes to the Model 3 and Model Y, both topping 200,000 number. You know, so like I said, they battled that component shortage. They made it happen. The stock is a little bit flat today, but I mean, I think for the most part, it is a win for Tesla. We also don't necessarily get a breakdown from the different regions, but with China trending higher, and also we're thinking about, their analysts are thinking about that hitting 40% by the end of the year. We have a baseline of what we might expect. We're going to hear those China numbers in a few days for June. But I also want to touch on another big story that's happening today, and that's that Model S fire that happened outside of Philadelphia. A lawyer bought the cards, the new Model S Plaid, the brand new top of the line Tesla. He said it spontaneously combusted, in quotes, and that he was trapped. He tried to unlock the door, couldn't get out, had to force his way out of the vehicle as the lock seemed to malfunction. Now, the way this works is because these cars use electronic locks. And on a Tesla, you can't actually open the door if the door is locked because it's not attached to like actual physical doorknob or a physical lock. So you have to actually find the release to open it and pull it, and then the door opens up. I'm not sure how this guy got out, but he eventually did. He said the car went engulfed in flames after he left. You know, so a lot of critics are talking about how, you know, Tesla pushes the boundaries when it comes to safety, new designs, new batteries. They're not necessarily stress testing or putting things out in the world for very long. So your users are basically your beta testers. So it's problematic. And this is another black eye when we have such a high profile launch of this Model S Plaid.
All right, so notice that the segment discussing Tesla's Q2 delivery numbers, record-breaking, suddenly morphed into FUD, Tesla fire. Now, I just want to talk about this in a little bit more detail. First of all, regular viewers of the channel, people who follow Tesla closely, will probably recall a few months ago the supposed driverless crash of a Tesla. Almost immediately after an accident occurred with a Tesla, somebody made a statement, I think it was a fire chief, don't quote me on that, came out and made a statement that there was definitely absolutely nobody driving this vehicle. Therefore, it must have been on autopilot, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, this was complete and utter horse shit. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details there. But of course, the media spread this information immediately. Driverless Tesla crashes, Tesla on autopilot crash, blah, 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 blah. And the damage is done. In the fallout of this, the dangerously stupid morons at Con Job Reports. No, what are they called? You know, I don't know. Anyway, these idiots went out and actually demonstrated how people could get around Tesla safety systems with a really elaborate system, having a weight, tricking the steering wheel into thinking somebody was inside the vehicle, literally showing people how to get around this. Then Tesla loses some safety ratings, rah, 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 rah. It was an absolute clusterfuck. It was a FUD tsunami based on lies and misinformation being propagated by the fake news without doing any fact checking, and the damage is done. Very few consumers who originally read a headline there and didn't read any more, or read a headline and then an article, will have seen any retractions because most of these outlets didn't post one. The initial impression tends to be the one that sticks. So now let's talk about this fire. And first of all, in case you guys haven't noticed, maybe you have, vehicles catch on fire quite regularly. In fact, the rate of Tesla fires versus internal combustion engine vehicles is not even comparable. In certain circumstances, if you wreck a Tesla, it can catch on fire. The same is true of internal combustion engine vehicles. However, the rate of fires occurring in Tesla vehicles is much lower than that of the average internal combustion engine vehicle. Yet, how often do you see internal combustion engine vehicle fires covered as national news stories? Literally never. I wonder why that is. So a great way to get a lot of attention, negative attention, and perhaps do damage to the price of Tesla stock is for your Tesla to catch on fire. Works every time. Well, except this time. As we know, Tesla stock didn't react to this news at all. But what I want to talk about now is how the pieces of this story aren't quite adding up. So let's head over to Teslarati. They've got a great article on this. Tesla Model S Plaid fire, strange observations and claims to date. Details about the Tesla Model S Plaid fire on Tuesday are starting to emerge. Similar to other dramatic electric vehicle fires, the details and observations emerging about the Tesla Model S Plaid fire are very interesting. Accounts of the Model S Plaid fire have been shared by an EMT that reportedly responded to the incident, a chief fire officer, and the lawyers representing the Model S Plaid owner. Boy, boy, oh boy, those lawyers were quick to get involved. Here are the accounts that have been shared on the Tesla Plaid Model S fire earlier this week. What happened? The Tesla Model S Plaid caught fire in Pennsylvania on June 29th, 2021, a day before the end of Q2. The vehicle, which was a Tesla Plaid variant based on the remains of its rear badge, was engulfed in flames when fire crews arrived. Firefighters were on the scene for just over 3 hours dealing with this emergency. Nobody was hurt in the incident, and both crews worked hard in the high heat humidity to mitigate the incident, the Gladwin Volunteer Fire Company wrote. Interestingly enough, this statement, as well as the Gladwin Volunteer Fire Company's Facebook post about the Plaid Model S fire, has been taken offline. A look at the fire department's Facebook page and its official website will reveal that the post about the Tesla fire has now been deleted. This doesn't in and of itself actually mean anything, but it's an interesting data point. A first responders account. As the story of the Model S Plaid fire gained ground, the incident started to attract a lot of attention on social media as well. On Reddit, a user who claimed to be an EMT who responded to the fire noted that the report they received about the incident was downright strange. According to the EMT, the person who reported the fire stated that the car was driving uphill without an occupant while it was ablaze. Let's just think about that for a moment. Of course, this is just some person on Reddit, may or may not be the actual EMT who got this call, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt here and assume that what they're reporting is true, just to get some potential context. This is rather strange, isn't it? Imagine a vehicle driving itself uphill while ablaze. Seems a little bit odd. I'm sure Nikola Motor Corporation can explain to you guys and girls all about how the physics of vehicles going up or downhill work. The owner was reportedly nowhere to be found. This was a rather dramatic image, and it promptly fueled speculations among the anti-EV crowd about self-driving cars catching fire. I'll skip over the post if you guys want to read it, press pause on the video. The fire chief's account. As noted in a CNBS report, Chief Fire Officer of the Lower Meriton Township Fire Department in Pennsylvania stated that the Tesla Model S caught fire on Tuesday while the driver was still at the wheel of the vehicle. According to the fire chief, firefighters eventually removed the Plaid Model S to a complex to safely store it overnight. The vehicle's owner had since taken the remains of the vehicle from the facility, as per McGarvey, and will have the car investigated independently to determine the cause of the blaze. The fire chief also stated that his teams had been in touch with Tesla and that some information about the incident should be made public soon. The lawyer's account. The Model S Plaid owner's lawyers, and by the way, note that it appears they've engaged 2 independent law firms here, have since mobilized to share details about the incident as well. In a statement to CNBS, the attorney stated that the Tesla owner initially noticed smoke coming from the back of the Model S Plaid. Following this, the owner reportedly tried to unlock and open the vehicle's doors, but he ended up having to force his way out of the car as the lock seemed to malfunction. The lawyers noted that after the Tesla owner left his car, the Model S began to move on its own while the flames engulfed it, apparently uphill. Interesting. Now here's where things get rather interesting. We have a tweet from an attorney, including a photograph of the Model S ablaze, almost immediately after the incident. Great way to spread fear, uncertainty and doubt through social media. Let's read the exact tweet. Our firm and Athlete Defender represent an exec who purchased the new Tesla Plaid Model S, which was one of 250 shipped. On Tuesday, it spontaneously combusted. Keeping in mind this is an allegation, we don't actually know the information here. I take this with a giant grain of salt, and I'm not trying to throw shade here. I don't know what happened, but I just want to point out this is very early on. This is the first impression that everybody who sees this tweet and reads these headlines is going to have, whether or not it turns out to be true, just like the supposed driverless Tesla crash. Our client was trapped and could have died. By the way, this is untrue. There is a latch to release the door manually if the automatic unlock function isn't working, so this is kind of misinformation. We have tried reaching out to Tesla and have been ignored so far. This is the car after escape. And here we can see the very dramatic fire. Keeping in mind, this is car after escape, as in, this photograph has been taken just after the occupant or very soon after the occupant has escaped. Looks pretty scary, right? Interesting and strange details. Overall, the Model S Plaid fire in Philadelphia features a number of interesting accounts that may not necessarily line up perfectly. The EMT that initially shared details about the incident mentioned that the Model S owner was nowhere to be found. The lawyers, on the other hand, shared an image reportedly taken immediately after the owner escaped, suggesting that the Tesla owner was on the scene of the blaze. As per the Model S Plaid owner's manual, the vehicle is also equipped with a manual door release that should make it easy for occupants to vacate the car in the case of an emergency. This seems to be a bit overlooked by the owner's lawyers, who noted that their client was trapped inside the car. Of course, the idea of a car driving on its own uphill while being engulfed in flames is quite strange. Yeah, it is quite strange, considering that neither Tesla's autopilot nor full self-driving suite have such features. The only function that may have worked similarly is Smart Summon, but the vehicle was burning on a public street, an area where Smart Summon should have been unavailable. Now, I don't know what's going on here, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions like a moron, but I will share a few thoughts. It seems a little bit strange, a little bit of a coincidence. I'm not making accusations here, but looking at all of the pieces of the puzzle here, just before the end of Tesla's Q2, just before they announced their Q2 results, just before they announced their deliveries and production, we have a Tesla fire. Okay, whatever, there's a Tesla fire. But the details don't quite seem to be adding up here. I would be astonished, truly astonished, if it turns out that this Tesla Plaid Model S spontaneously combusted and spontaneously caught fire. The odds of this happening are vanishingly small. It is true, you can certainly cause a Tesla battery pack to catch fire if you damage it quite severely. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe the driver did something and caused damage to the battery pack. After all, the same thing is likely to happen to an internal combustion engine vehicle. If you damage something that's combustible in a collision, etc., it's possible that it can in fact combust. Imagine that. Then we hear the reports, initially called in, supposedly, suggesting that the vehicle was driving uphill on its own while ablaze. I also find this rather hard to believe. Then we have the accounts, a photograph claiming to have been taken just after the occupant escaped the vehicle, yet we also have conflicting reports suggesting that the owner was nowhere to be seen. And the thing that really concerns me here, that really troubles me, is how quickly the so-called owner of this Tesla Model S Plaid lawyered up, not just with one firm, but 2 different law firms. And then, in addition to that, the tweet on social media with the photo, causing some more fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, again, I'm not making accusations here. I do feel bad for this person if they purchased their car and it spontaneously combusted, even though the chances of that, I believe, are vanishingly small. I think it's more likely, if nothing nefarious is going on here, that they drove like a fucking moron, ran over something, collided with something, blah, 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 vehicle caught on fire, and then they decided, well, okay, maybe I can sue them, maybe I can get some money out of this, maybe I can milk this company for all they're worth, since my car caught on fire because I'm an idiot and I crashed it. Let's see if we can spin this in a way that I don't end up in trouble. But of course, in a more nefarious situation, again, I'm not making accusations here, just thinking through all the possibilities. If I was somebody who personally wanted to damage the price of Tesla stock, what better way to do it than buy one of their brand new record-breaking vehicles, just one of 250, and then plant a story in the media. And again, I'm not making accusations here, just hypothesizing about possible ways that this could have played out in a parallel universe. Have it spontaneously combust, and then immediately lawyer up and start spreading FUD on social media before the investigation has concluded, before anyone knows what actually went on. We'll have to wait until the investigation is completed before we really understand all the details involved in this incident. But in either case, I'm happy to report that this FUD has caused zero impact on the price of Tesla stock. As I've mentioned in recent videos, guys, just between you and I think the FUD is no longer effective. Now, sure, there may be incidents in the future where FUD does have some impact on Tesla stock price, but I think overall, investors are now too smart, too aware, and too informed overall to panic and react to this kind of FUD. And I want to be clear, vehicles can catch on fire, internal combustion engine or electric. These things happen, especially in the event of accidents, high impacts, etc. I'm not going to rule out the possibility that this vehicle spontaneously combusted, but if I was a betting man, and I am, after all, I'm all in on Tesla stock, my bet would be that something's going on here, and it doesn't smell too good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What's going on with this Tesla Plaid Model S fire? Does it seem a little bit suspicious to you? The timing, the way this was presented, how quickly the client lawyered up, and the fact that the attorney actually used social media to post this picture and these details? Or is it more likely that this Plaid Model S just spontaneously combusted, and in this deluded Tesla fanboy bubble, I'm just imagining things? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.